So if I were to have been in the time of the prophets, would I have been in the number of those that would have wanted them gone, right? Silenced or whatsoever? I'm not exactly sure I can answer as to whether I'd be on the side of silencing them or not. Yeah, definitely there are the chances of being influenced by the violence of the mob or the great contradiction of a large number of the people against them, but I think it would be more easier to answer or try to wrestle with the idea of if I would listen to them or not. And to that, I would say it would depend largely on which of them, honestly. Which of them in the sense of the timeline that they came. And yeah, so if it was to be for the man Noah, or the prophet Noah, definitely I'll be floating on the water. That one is for sure. I would definitely be floating on the water, and it would be the thing of who exactly is this guy, right? I mean, in the end, everybody has their right to say whatever it is they want to say, but I mean, I don't have to believe you. I mean, there really was not exactly that precedence to what exactly it is Noah was speaking of. So, well, I can't tell if, as at that time, there were other things that would lend evidence to the people of then. That, oh, you've seen this, this Noah guy, there's likely something about him. Yeah, there's some sense of evidence of prophecies in his family line, but at that time, I most likely would have just dismissed it as a family thing and really not paid so much attention to it, because yeah, there's the side of, oh, you could have just slept in the ark and then whatever it was, you'll be saved either ways, whether Noah was right or wrong. But I don't think I would have given him that much attention to even care to fall asleep in the ark. I think I would have even forgotten or just have cast him somewhere. I don't know. Way beyond the back of my mind. Yeah, I think it's in some sense a function of grace that or mercy, if I'll put it that way, that in the moment for me there is that precedence of generations or lives I can look back to say, oh, okay, we could draw some sort of a line and make sense of all of this, right? So definitely for now I'll be floating on the water. I might start to come around, maybe around Moses somewhere, with a lot of questions though, but I mean, stuff is beginning to look real, right? Well, a lot of questions to Moses actually, because I think being fine with some of the things that happened then is from the benefit of the sight I have now in time, somewhat. But then I most likely would have just, followed, maybe not entirely because I fully believed in what, or would hang my life on what it is he was doing or saying, but yeah, I don't think I would have wanted to die. So I just might have followed along with it while I figure things out, and yeah, that just might have saved me. as it were, from dying, pending when I figure I'm able to put together whatever I'm looking to put together. If that makes sense or not, I do not know. But to be honest, I don't think I would have made it in the time of Noah. Right. So I think it's quite interesting, the idea of having to, in that time, walk in faith. Right. And yeah, I think it's a bit difficult as well too. It's not entirely impossible, but sometimes it's tougher to deal with truth when the people speaking it so boldly in your face are, as it were in the case of Moses, someone they knew, right? And someone who, as it were, was coming from a privileged position. Oh, you're Pharaoh's boy all along, and then you're coming to tell me something and I'm supposed to pay attention to you. Yeah. I don't think it's in the end it's their fault, but I'm not exactly sure if I would have made the same mistake or not. Right? Having to deal with that offense of, who is this guy coming to put us through all of this, right? And yeah, their bondage, I mean, being all they were used to, right? And the cost, as it were, that was being required of them for their freedom, bondage being all they knew before, I would say would have been something really tough to escape. So having gone through all it is they went through, having lived their lives through all the things they went through, I might not have been the third man apart from Caleb and Joshua. So yeah, sometimes our present moment can, as it is in my mind, blind me to the possibility of what God is doing in the now, and then I only catch up with it after it has passed. And yeah, in some sense, that's I'll say sober thing to wrestle with, because if I were to depend entirely on that blindness of faith, the having to deal with ego, having to deal with pride, having to deal with the fact that sometimes the truth of where things are going are outside of what you expect them to be. Sometimes coming through means you do not expect them to come from. Coming through people you do not expect them to come from, as you were, but it's not like truth really cares about that, right? It comes to you clearly and it comes in your face, and as you were, you have that one chance to believe in it. And well, if you don't, you would not be the first person to have died as a result of not believing in the truth, right? So yes, while for some things you may be able to draw a very strong line through generations, it also helps to be somewhat less full of pride in the now and being a little more open to things that are going on in the present, howsoever uncomfortable they may be, howsoever questioning of your reality they may be, howsoever questionable of whatever strongholds in your mind you've built for yourself. If you are confronted with that strong wall or that stone of truth, in the end, you're either left with two choices, right? So, to follow after it or be crushed by it. And In the end, the choice is always ours to choose, but making that choice in the moment, or realizing that choice in the moment, I would say is somewhat a function of openness of heart that God gives, or that something divine has to give. That enlightenment and that awakening in one's mind that the divine has to give, that, hey, pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. This might not look like what you know, might not look like what you're familiar with, but pay attention to this. I think it's that enlightenment of mercy and that enlightenment of grace that, as it were, might be one saving grace when you are confronted with the truth of prophecy in your own time. Because sometimes it might be easier to look back and say, oh yeah, if I were in that case, I would have done better. But I mean, we see ourselves multiple times in the now falling short of the exact same things. The exact same things. And sometimes you wonder if you're just not as foolish as the others were. Right? And it's just almost as the preacher said, that really there's nothing new under the sun. What has been is what is now, and is what will always be. Men missing the truth when he stares them in the face, only to turn back and wonder that, oh my God, if only my heart had loved wisdom when it came to me. So that I have listened to the prophets. Honestly, I do not know. I do not know. I think my salvation would largely hinge on the enlightenment of grace at that point, that I'm awakened to the truth that is playing in front of my eyes. And in some sense, looking at it, I would say that would be the prayer in the now, that Lord, awake me to the truth of the present moment, and I'd not have slept off, and then time would have passed by, and then I'm only seeing the truth in hindsight, and then what has been done has been done. And in the moment when wisdom came looking for me, in the moment when wisdom was crying at the top of my streets, I rejected it, and now my calamity has come upon me, and I'm in need of redemption and restoration from that which I did to myself. So, yeah, most likely I would not have killed the prophets, but listening to them, dang, I don't know. God have mercy. God, open our eyes to see the truth when it plays right in front of our faces. Open our eyes to see your truth when it plays right in front of our faces.